third 25 horsepower tractor, purchased new from C.W. Byford of Lawshall in 1944 by C. Poole of Fimble's Farm in Coldfield, was sold new to Nuns of Elmswell on or around May 1954, when the tractor was traded for a Ferguson. History again goes unknown for a bit, until it was purchased by the late M. Phillips of Woolpit around 1970 and restored in 1986. Number 43, an Alice Chalmers B of 1952, owned by I. Dale of Bramford. And number 57, a Fordson N of 1939, owned by J. Spink of Weatherden. A German tractor. This one was imported to the UK in 2007. The tractor is primarily used in vineyards, small holdings in post-war Germany, known as the narrow width of the tractor to negotiate those vines. There's 77 in the programme, a Ferguson T20 of 1947. Then we got an earth scoop on the back of that, John. We have, with an earth scoop on the back. You'll see John later on in his vintage car as well. AR of 1953, owned by S. Bailey of Rattlesden. Market. Moving now, number 59, a Fordson N of 1943, owned by M. Stevenson of Stackford and Green. That's a good place to sit around the arena. Number 67, a Fordson Super Major of 1962, owned by M. Gardner of Hinderclay. Followed by number 65, a lovely Fordson E1A Major. This one was purchased by the owner's late grandfather in 1954. The first was used on a family farm in Highland in Essex before the family made the move from Essex to Suffolk. The tractor was still regularly used on the farm in Suffolk, and the owner's late grandfather often used this to carry on baling on the farm with a Massey 20 baler, but his dad was a young boy. The tractor was cared for and looked after all his life, and whilst the owner's grandfather owned it, the air breather on the tractor originally should have been under the bonnet, but was made much higher, because it was getting a little bit warm whilst its working activity. And this is one of the ones where I'm very glad it's been kept in that condition, and just quite an early Caterpillar, this one, a 1936 Caterpillar 22, owned by S. Last of Saxton. Sees a Ferguson T20 of 1952, owned by C. Dale and Bamford. Next up, number 85, a lovely 1955 Ferguson T20, recovered from a farm in Norfolk in a poor state as a non-runner. Fuel pump and seats, no brakes, the polling was backed into the radiator in 2018. The restoration took place by its owner Nigel Ebney and David Wright, and a little help from local tradesmen for turning, welding, and will take them 4 years to get the tractor into the lovely condition you see it in now. Good job, guys. A David Brown 30C of 1953, owned by J. Lambert of Mendelsham, together with a mounted plough. Number 91, a Massey Ferguson 35 of 1960.
Dubious, right? You see, I know,
Okay.
Don't give me that. Where did it thing? Where is it?
You gotta find out.
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
I heard it all.
You bring it every time.
Says you, on your third marriage.
Oh, yeah. It's all good. It's all done. So what's it? You've got these guys? Four.
Yeah. Well, that's where they play. Well,
The Ransom Sims and Jeff Reeves. Engine Ransom Sims and Jeff Reeves manufactured their engines in Ipswich. And all are traction engines. They're one of the ones which are still going with Ransoms, doing mowers these days. Purchased by CA Haylock in 2017. Exhibited by Phil Starling of Sawston, and today sponsored by G Baker UK Limited. Engine family. This one is the Burrell road locomotive, built in 1909. These are used for hauling on the highway. Road locomotives, so they've got a closed flywheel and the wheel turning up the front side to keep the running of the engine. Also used for carrying ancillary equipment. Well, this is from a road locomotive and exported to New Zealand, where used before moving to Australia in the 1960s and returning to the UK in 1973. Sponsored by Taylor Commercials and owned by T&B Maynard of Hadlow. Boilers, think of the heavy haulage vehicles of the day. Number 7 is our oldest engine here this weekend. An 1891 Burrell general purpose agricultural engine, the old chap. It's run by Alan Hyde, today sponsored by SR Hayfield. Charles Burrell, of course, manufactured their engines at Charles Burrell Works in Pembroke. There is now a very nice museum in the old print shop. Charles Burrell Museum on their engines. A few words about the Charles Burrell Museum, and they'll have engines in the arena. For hauling fairground and circuit equipment, then generating through a belt slung between the flywheel and generating the front. There you can have 110 volt power coming out for use on running the fairground. Number 3 with me now, the lovely Burrell engine Rosemary. Rosemary's fellow engine is Jesse, both lived with Barry Freeman and at Ford End. It's a lovely engine. The only engine on the rally site, or any rally site you'll see I've ever polished, and that's the engine Old Nick, a Marshall engine, owned by the Eagle family, looked after for many years by the late great Ernie Eagle, who will always have a marvel with you at the commentary point. A beautiful 1908 engine, with Daniel Young of Whitney, before becoming number 14, the John Allen Threshing Fleet, quite a large threshing fleet, John Allen of Oxford. Sold in 1940 to the Pennant family in North East Yorkshire for wood sawing. It was lovely catching up with Tom yesterday, having a chat about the engine. Well, I mentioned that engine manufacturers manufacture a whole range of engines. The next one in is a road roller, a Bedfordshire County Council former road roller, number 9 in a fleet. This one's got a famous Invicta logo on the front, which can only mean one thing, and that is it's an Eveling and Porter roller, manufactured in the bypass actually, going using the Admiral context to the M1 motorway. Led by Stuart Hines and Brett Barton. And then the roller went from the Salt for a few years, Stuart with the Power engine, and then he's back with the engine Percy. And great to see him once again with Percy at Walkinston. Well, something very special for you now, and it's also been with the Cooney family at First Monster. They're still actually out there doing the race. Great to see this engine back with it. It's a beautiful Bowen engine. It's absolutely perfect. It's proportioned in every way. On the back you can see the Mansfield frame, which would be used rods which are up above the horses. The scenic rides involve motors on each of the cars, so they were powered by electricity. And that needed an engine which supplied great power. The scenic rides are marvellous. In the middle of it you had things like waterfalls, beautiful setups. You can imagine going through the gardens of Tivoli or the Italians of the era,